Let's have some business news now on the programme. Brian Quinn's joining us here on set. He started today with yet another document leak, shedding some unflattering light on the workings of the international banking system. This time it's at Crédit Suisse, Brian.
Indeed, it is, Stuart. Dictators, human rights abusers, drug traffickers, all among the account holders being revealed in what is called the Swiss Secrets leak. A year ago, an insider at Crédit Suisse delivered a trove of documents to German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung, who shared it with a consortium of nearly 50 other news outlets. The data shows that between the 1940s and 2010s, Crédit Suisse handled funds for dozens of corrupt politicians, money launderers, and intelligence officials notorious for torture, in fact. 18,000 accounts were analyzed, comprising more than $100 billion worth of holdings. Among those, at least $8 billion worth were linked to problematic clients. Now, they include late Algerian President Abdelaziz Bouteflika, the sons of former Egyptian strongman Hosni Mubarak, and his former intelligence chief Omar Suleiman. Now, according to current Swiss banking ethics rules, none of them should have been able to open an account. Such regulations, though, are rarely enforced, partly due to the country's long history of banking secrecy, which is still enshrined in law. Crédit Suisse has denied any wrongdoing. It says that most of the accounts in question are closed and that they date back to a time when laws and practices were very different from where they are today. The leak, though, just the latest blow to the bank's reputation. It's been plagued by a running list of scandals and losses. Both the CEO and chairman have had to be replaced within the past 2 years. Next, the U.S. and the U.K. are ramping up their plans for unprecedented sanctions on Russia if it invades Ukraine. Reuters reporting that Washington is planning to forbid U.S. financial institutions from processing the transactions of major Russian banks, as well as potentially even freezing their American assets. The U.K., meanwhile, says it is prepared to blacklist Russian firms from raising capital there. Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the City of London banking hub needs to deal with Russian money funneling through it. Here he is on Sunday.
The UK has been to make sure that we impose the toughest possible sanctions, and that's what we're going to do, not just hitting the associates of Vladimir Putin, but also all companies, organizations of strategic importance to Russia. We're going to stop Russian companies raising money on UK markets, and we're even with our American friends going to stop them trading in pounds and dollars.
Checking in on the day's trading action now. Investors are continuing to keep a close eye on the Ukraine crisis. Monday, news that U.S. President Joe Biden is open to a meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin, helping to ease some fears as European indexes open in positive territory. Now, Crédit Suisse shares are down around 1.3% in Zurich. London, though, up 0.5%. Paris, around 0.2%. Frankfurt DAX up nearly 1% at the open. Asian indexes managed to pair some steeper losses on news of those diplomatic hopes. The Nikkei recovered a bit to close down around 0.8%. Chinese indexes either flat or in the red as Beijing keeps interest rates steady there. The cost being sold just below the flat line. Crude oil futures slipping a bit on news of that possible Biden-Putin summit. Now hopes for a revival of the Iran nuclear deal in the coming weeks. Also has traders looking forward to more supply on the markets in the coming months. Both WTI and Brent crude trading down slightly. Well, finally, for business, the island of Murano, just north of Venice, is famous for its glassmaking, but their tradition is now under threat due to Europe's ongoing energy crisis. Now, as natural gas prices surge, running the furnaces used for blowing glass has become prohibitively expensive. Some companies have had to close for good. Inka Oyatada reports.
Nestled away on the Venetian lagoon, the island of Murano has a long tradition of glassmaking, stretching back over 1,000 years. But artisans here are feeling the heat, as soaring gas prices force some to shut off their furnaces. The gas-fueled machines must stay burning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This company has 6 machines. The cost of keeping them running for a year has gone up from 150,000 euros to $500,000. The price hikes are pushing artisans here to the brink.
For us, natural gas is one of the most expensive elements in our furnace. A 400% increase is very difficult to bear in the long term. We can get by for a few months, but it would be impossible to put up with it for longer.
Murano's glassmakers were already reeling from the pandemic and catastrophic flooding that engulfed the island in 2019. They hope to make it through this crisis too.
Glass has been with us for 1,000 years, and we've gone through other problems, but we always managed to survive. I can't think that this is going to be the end of glass working in Murano. I was born here, and when I have to switch a furnace off, it's like switching off a part of myself.
The Italian government has offered subsidies to help some glassmakers get through the winter, but some say the aid isn't enough to keep the furnaces lit.
Tough times all over Europe during that energy crisis. Stuart, that's it for business.
Thank you very much. Brian Quinn with the Business on Friday.